Hi everyone, Leanne here from Jaded Blossom, and it is day 2 of our February 2025 release, and I have a 2-card video to share. Hey, so I'm using Jaded Blossom's brand new tree swing die, along with their brand new Be Kind stamp, their Gnome Dies Spring add-ons, Border Dies 2, Gnome Dies Motorcycle add-ons, and their Girl Gnome Dies. And I'm also using Doodlebug's Candy Stripe and Sprinkles 6-inch pad and the Bunny Hop 6-inch pad. And I did put together this tree swing die on the assembly video. Please check that out. Okay, so I have a piece of paper. This is Echo Park's My Dog paper line, and it's just a cloudy sky paper, cut 1/8 of an inch smaller than an A2 size card front. And I'm going to put that on an A2 sized paper Trank white cardstock card. And like I said, it's 1/8 of an inch smaller. There we go. So that's 4.25 by 11, scored at 5.5 inches, right? Now I'm going to add in, this is some American Crafts green cardstock that I cut with Jaded Blossom's Border Dies 2. So it kind of cuts like through the center and you get 2 little hills, right? So I'm going to use 1 hill on the outside. And I'm adding it to the bottom of this card with some score tape, just to make it easy for myself, no messy glue at this point. And I'm just going to stick those down, like I said, to the bottom of this card front here. So it'll look like I have a nice blue sky with a grassy hill underneath. And I'm going to cut off that overhang with a pair of scissors. There we go. And, whoops, trying to make everything perfect, or as perfect as I can get it, right? And just going to reinforce that fold with my Teflon bone folder, and there you have it. So I am working on a Stampin' Up! Pad. All my die cutting today was done with my Anna Griffin Empress. So I'm going to put together a little girl gnome using the Girl Gnome dies along with the Gnome Dies Spring add-ons. So I'm starting with her little dress that was cut from Doodlebug's Bunny Hop 6-inch pad. And I did ink around the edge with fossilized amber Distress Oxide ink. And the base was cut from American Crafts black cardstock. You'll see that this hat lines up with the top of the dress. But remember, you've got a slip in her face that was cut from P13 Stamping Pad Skin Tones in there. So you're going to want to get the face in place. And then you're going to add the hat. Remember, you see that the brim of the hat will line up perfectly with the sides of the dress. That's how you know you have it in the right spot. There we go, just using some score tape to hold it in place. And her hair is American Crafts Rust cardstock, but I'm going to get the rest of the hat put together first. So that is the same Candy Stripe and Sprinkles from Doodlebug. That's the nice thing about Doodlebug paper, their colors all go together, right? And then I'm going to add the brim on. Same thing, use some fossilized amber ink around the edges. And there we go. So then I'm going to add on my American Crafts Rust cardstock braids with some Barely Art glue. There we go. And isn't that cute? So I'm going to add some little yellow American Crafts scraps to cover up these little areas that, show through. Depends on what hair you use, right? There we are. And now I'm going to add a couple of little bows cut from that Doodlebug 6-inch pad again. The Honey Bunny Hop. And there we go. So she's got little bows in her hair. And now we've got her nose that I'm going to pop up with some Stampin' Up! Dimensionals, the little ones, and peel off the backing, and then I'll pop that in place with my reverse tweezers. I think she looks super cute. And we will pop up her feet with the larger Stampin' Up! Dimensionals. And like I said, that P13 Stamping Pad Skin Tones for all over skin, you can find that over at the Jaded Blossom store under Fun Extras. There's lots of different skin tones you can choose from. Now I'm adding on some antennae because we're going to make her look like a little bee. These are cut from American Crafts black cardstock. And then you'll see in the upper left there, I have her wings cut out of vellum. You can use whatever vellum you'd like. So I'm going to add a little strip of this score tape to the middle of her back so I can add the wings on easily. I probably should have added her arms first, but you know, you live, you learn, right? So I would go on to the arms next, but like I said, you live, you learn. Okay, so next we're going to add on the other little pieces of the wings. I'm just adding some score tape to the little ends because they won't show. They'll be underneath her. So I'm going to slip them in on each side. And we've got 2 layers of vellum there, and it kind of looks nice, right? I like the stitching too. It looks pretty. There we are. So we've got a little bee. We're going to add her little flower that was cut from the Candy Stripe and Sprinkles, along with the little leaves and the center. So I'll add the little leaves first, but you know, I screwed up when I add the flower here in a second. I'm going to pick it all up together. Oops. There we go. So I'm going to get it in place, and then I'm going to add the center as well. And I just think she looks adorable. There she is. Now I'm going to have to get her in place on this swing. So normally you would get your gnome in place and then decorate your swing. But I assembled that swing for the assembly video. So I made it by itself. So that's why I'm kind of struggling getting her in place. There we go. So once I get her in place, I can figure out where she's going to go. I will glue the bottom of her little dress to that seat. There. And remember, like, you can check, you know, watch that assembly video, and everything that I used for that swing will be listed under this video as well as under the assembly video for that swing. So you can check that out. There we go. So now I'm going to sort of squeeze in these little arms. I cut them out of that same P13 Stamping Pad Skin Tones. That's from that Gnome Dies Motorcycle add-ons. And it'll look like, you know, her arms are sticking out, and then I can add the little hands on over top of the rope, and it'll make it look like she's holding the rope. So I'm just trying to get those arms in place. And remember I said, you know, it would probably have been smarter to put the arms on first and then the wings, right? So I'm going to add in my 2 little hands over the rope at the ends of those little arms with some dimensionals. And there you have her. Isn't she sweet? Oh, so cute. Super cute stuff. Now I am going to add her to my card front with some score tape just to make it easy for myself. And then I will kind of fill in here and there with some Barely Art glue. And then we'll get her in place on that pretty background that we already made. So there we go, getting in place. And like I said, I'm just going to add some glue here and there, you know, just to make sure it sticks down and stays on my card. Although the score tape would probably hold it pretty well, but you know, this is one of those cards where you'd cut a piece of cardstock and just lay it loosely over top of the whole front before you add it to your envelope, just to keep everything from, you know, messing up as you put it in the envelope. Because there's a lot of little pieces that could catch, right? Because there's some dimension, and that happens with dimension. So I just cut like a cheap piece of cardstock the same size as my card, and I fold it like I put it on top of it like a sandwich and slip it right in that envelope. So now I'm going to add on my little musical notes that were cut from American Crafts black cardstock with some Barely Art glue here and there. I'm going to add a couple up by the bird and one down, you know, underneath the bird there. There we go. So I'm going to add that one there. Oops. So we're going to add 3, right? Because everything looks better in 3s. That's why they call it the rule of thirds, I guess, right? And there we go. And now I'm taking this Echo Park sticker sheet. That's from the 12-inch Be Happy paper line. And I'm going to add that sticker along the inside of my card. And I'm going to trim off that overhang with a pair of scissors. Then I'm going to add in, I've got a piece of paper from the 6-inch Echo Park Be Happy paper line. It's about 1 inch. But the idea is I want to use that green hill on the inside as well. So there's the green hill. That's that American Crafts green cardstock again. Remember, when you cut that border, it cuts on either side of it cuts in the center and you get stitching lines on either side. And now I'm going to add in that strip to cover up, you know, that messed up spot underneath that hill, so it looks like it's not a scrap, right? It looks like I meant to do it like that. So I'm going to add in that piece and trim off that overhang, and then you get kind of a pretty looking inside. Now I'm going to stamp a sentiment on the inside from the Be Happy stamp set. There we go. And I'm going to stamp that with VersaFun Clair Nocturne ink using my Misty. So it says Happy B-Day, which is fun. And I'm going to add a sticker from that same sticker sheet because I like to have something going on the inside of my card. There we go. And I added a Post-it note on the inside just to keep the inside of my card clean because it takes a while for the sentiment to dry. I'm going to stamp Biz 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 over the front of my card in a few spots. Freehand, which is always not a good idea. And I'm going to add one down on the grass below her as well because I want 3 Biz Biz Biz. And there you have it. So I just think it turned out super cute and fun. So I'm going to add in 3 little dots after each biz. You know, like they're having a little conversation. Biz, biz, biz. Oops, I hit my camera there. Sorry, guys. And I'm just going to add a few of these little dots. And there we go. Okay, now on to the next card. I'm going to be using the Street Lamp Dies Spring Add-ons, Scallop Square Dies, and our Stitch Square Dies, our Chubby Bunny die, our Street Lamp Die Valentine add-on, the Street Lamp Dies, Lover's Lane stamp set, and Border Dies 2. So there we go. So I'm going to, and I already put that together on that assembly video, so check that out. Okay, I'm using Doodlebug's Bunny Hop 6-inch pad, their Candy Stripe and Sprinkles, and their 12-inch swimming pool petite prints from the Candy Stripes and Sprinkles from Doodlebug. And I'm using the Bunny Hop odds and ends as well. So I have like a square card, so 4.25 inches square. So I was 8.5 by 4.25, scored at 4.25 inches. Now I'm going to add a strip of paper. These are, this is like borders that Doodlebug has on their paper line. I'm just using, you know, I cut some of them out. That's like 1.5 inches or something. And I'm going to add these 2 little peeps to the inside for fun because it kind of mimics what I've got going on the outside. And I'm not going to add a sentiment on the inside because it already says Happy Easter on the border. So that's why I used it actually. So there we go. We got a couple of these little peeps in place. Super cute. I'm going to use my Jelly Roll pen and a number 10 to add some highlights here because it always makes it look a little bit cuter, right? And I'm going to use my black glaze pen on the eyes and nose of these little guys. But remember, you're going to want to put it off to the side to dry. There, so I'm just tapping these. And remember, you want to let them dry. It adds a shiny element. So now I have, this was that swimming pool cardstock from, or paper line from Doodlebug, cut out with our 3.5-inch square die. And then I cut a piece of white paper tray ink cardstock, 1/8 of an inch larger. So it's got a little bit of a border there. And now this little green hill was cut from the Border Dies 2. So I first cut out the square, the 3.5-inch square, with paper from that Bunny Hop 6-inch pad. And then I used the border on it. So I get a hill that'll fit within that frame. So there we go. Now I am just going to make sure that's straight and weight it down here. There we go. Okay, so now that scalloped border is actually, let me measure it, or the scalloped square is actually like 4 inches, I think, roughly 4 inches in size. There we are. And I'm going to add that to my little scalloped border there. There we go. And now I'm going to stick that to the front of my card base. So yeah, that plaid paper was also from that Bunny Hop 6-inch pad. I'm going to add that down, trying to keep it as even as I can on that card front. There we go. So I'm going to add on this cute little street lamp, the egg, with some Barely Art glue. Now that was cut out using Doodlebug's Bunny Hop, Doodlebug's Candy Stripe and Sprinkles, and Smoky Shadow cardstock from Paper Tray Ink. There we go. And you can watch me, design that on the assembly video for that. And everything that I use is listed under that assembly video as well. Otherwise, if you want to see what I use for these cards, that's linked in my blog underneath this video. Okay, so I went ahead and I cut out, this is the little bunny piece that's supposed to be a bunny lamp. So I cut that out of paper from Candy Stripe and Sprinkles and Paper Tray Ink white cardstock and layered them up. And I did the same with the Chubby Bunny die. Now I'm going to stamp into this little sign that came from the Street Lamp Valentine add-ons. And I'm going to use Lover's Lane. And I'm going to stamp the sentiment Bunny Trail in that white space using some VersaFine Clair Nocturne ink. Now I made a mistake. I glued down that lamppost before I added that little hanger that I'm going to put this sign on. So I've got to do some surgery to fit it on. Had I been thinking, I would have added it first and then glued it down. But these things happen when I'm making a video. I don't know what to tell you. I'm not perfect. I make mistakes all the time. Okay, so I'm going to add this Sentiment Bunny Trail. There we go. And now you see, now I've got to do some surgery. I'm just going to trim it off there. And then I'm going to slip it onto that street lamp post like I layered it, like it was supposed to be layered. We'll keep it a little secret between you and me. Nobody needs to know that I screwed up again, right? So we're going to slip that underneath, get it in place. And stick it down. And then I will add my little sign on there as well. So just fun stuff. So I'm making a little scene with this street lamp die. So it's kind of fun. But remember, you can use the tops of those street lamps for other things, which I am for this little bunny. So I'm just adding some glue behind a few of these little tendrils. I add some glue to the end of a scrap piece of cardstock and I kind of drag it underneath. Just a little trick. And I'm just making sure everything is stuck down well. So this is a little bunny that's cut out of like a white and gray dot. So I'm going to add some paper behind them. This is the leftover pieces from the black sunglasses from Paper Tray Ink black cardstock. I'm going to slip those on top of the eyes. And then I'm going to add this little Candy Stripe and Sprinkles pink behind the nose. And then I'm going to glue down the glasses. Like I said, this is that Paper Tray Ink black cardstock. I cut out the glasses twice so I can have two, have them stacked up. It gives it a little bit more dimension and presence, I find, on a card. So I'm just going to use my Barely Art glue to layer those two together. There we are, just making sure that no glue is sticking out. There you have it. It's kind of fun, right? Now I'm using some EK Success chalk on the cheeks. There for fun. And I'm going to put together the little bow tie. You could use it as either a bow tie or a hair bow. So I cut it out of that Candy Stripe and Sprinkles and Paper Tray Ink white cardstock, and I'm going to layer them up. Like I said, just makes it a little bit thicker and adds a little bit of presence, right? I'm going to add some of that chalk to the inside of the ears as well. Why not, right? Remember, if you don't have chalk, you could use an R20 Copic marker and blend it out with some zero. That works as well. So I'm going to add that on the white center first, then I'm going to add the pink center on top. Like I said, it adds a little bit of dimension to this little peep. And isn't he cute? I just think he's adorable. Now, I've got another little bunny. This one doesn't have a face though, so I'm going to use my black glaze pen to dot the eyes and the nose, just for fun. And they will dry, but it will have like a nice little shine to it. And now I'm going to add on my bunnies. So I'm going to glue those down with some Bearly Art glue. So this was a very simple card. Like once you have your street lamp assembled, you can build a little scene really easily, right? So I'm just going to use my reverse tweezers to hold those ears in place while they dry. I'm going to add my other little bunny to the front with some Bearly Art glue again. There we go. And of course, I realize that I've overreached my tweezers so that it can hold the bottom, but I can't get into the top. So I've got to actually hold it in place with my fingers. Gosh, God forbid I've got to hold it, right? So now I'm pulling out these shape sprinkles from Doodlebug. They are called All A-Flutter. I think that's what they're called. Let me look. Sorry, guys. I'm having a hard time. Oh, there it is. Yeah, All A-Flutter. And I'm going to add them to my card front just in a set of 3. So I'm probably going to I'll do 1 on the egg. There, and we've got 2 above the butterfly. And isn't that fun? Adds a little bit of shine and fun. And that's the end of that card. So thank you so much for stopping by. Be sure to hop on over to the Jaded Blossom blog, be inspired by the team. The Jaded Blossom store to get your hands on the Gotta Have It Now. Otherwise, you got to wait to release day to buy things a la carte. Make sure you're a follower over at the Jaded Blossom YouTube site and the Lee Kubenek YouTube site. And then you can see my videos as they come out, because I always have videos coming out showcasing Jaded Blossom. Thanks for watching. Bye, everybody.